Hi, thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited that you're here with us, and I'm sure you've been watching along and just following our series of the power of 1 degree. And this today, we wanted to give you a foundational overview of what the power of 1 degree is really all about. You know, what's in the secret sauce, what's in this whole thing that we're talking about, the power of 1 degree. Over the course of the 5 week series, you're going to hear from people that represent the top 1% in their respective industries. They're pretty good at life. I'm just going to tell you right now. And the reality is that they didn't get that good by trying to go get it, by trying to 10x everyone around them. They actually made a 1 degree shift with intentionality and took that 1 degree path every day forward. And over time, consistency has led them to great success and great amount of significance. And so we're excited to share with you today the power of 1 degree and what it's all about. I'm joined today by our team from Movement. We've got Movement Bank's greatest and best producers. We have myself, Jonathan Romero. I'm happy to be with you. We've got Miss Yulia Better, Michael Curtis, Mr. Patrick Blackburn, Chris Bushnell's in the house. We've got Matt Stephanie, Coach Corey Scott, and last but not least, Trey Strickland. And so we're just excited that you would join us for an overview of what we are calling the power of 1 degree. Now, we're not going to take credit. We have to give credit where credit is due. And the reality is that this came from a concept out of the Go Giver. Authors Bob Burg and John David Mann have written a series of books that model the pillars of great success, starting with the Go Giver. And the idea around the Go Giver is this idea that as opposed to being a go getter, you'll actually accomplish more, you'll make more impact, and you'll gain more significance over life and in time as being a go giver as opposed to a go getter. And so, if you want to really dive into this story is amazing. The Go Giver is a quick read. My favorite, personally, I have it on audio, and anytime I hop on a plane, I literally just turn this book on, and I'm guaranteed to maybe take one vacation a year, which means I typically listen to it to about once a year. Um, you know, it really underlies a powerful truth that is a law of nature, that the power of giving will yield a great harvest, right? When you sow a seed into the ground and you cultivate that land, it will return a harvest. Now, you don't know when, and you can't control it. You can't tell that tree to grow, and you can't make sure that it's ready by this date or that it pays you dividends by this season. You know, you don't control that. But the power of giving is real, because when you plant that seed, when you sow that seed, there is going to be a harvest. And so Chris Bushnell on our team knows the power of giving. Chris, what does the power of giving mean to you, man?
Yeah, JR, they call it the go giver and not the go getter for a reason, right? Giving is so for me, I've been in sales roles for maybe the last 15 years, and earlier in my career, it was common that I'd be focused on just getting more sales and more sales, and it's very numbers focused. And a while ago, I wasn't I'd worked very hard, but I'd never really have the success that I wanted until I made a mental shift years back of, instead of trying to make a sale, right? Instead of trying to get further in life, giving more value to people, helping more families, helping other people get further in life. And when I shift the focus from me getting something to me giving something to other people, I started receiving more. And some of it doesn't even make sense, right? You give, and you just happen to be giving in the right place at the right time. I can give you an example is I've done a lot of volunteer work and philanthropy work. in my career. And during a philanthropy event a few years ago, I met my fiance, right? And if I wasn't out giving, if maybe I was focused more on, getting more sales and working harder and sort of getting further myself instead of just giving to other people with not expecting anything in return, maybe I wouldn't have been in that position. When it comes to what we do, we're in the mortgage world, right? We help people buy homes. And one thing that I told myself I would never do is care about how much the house is, right? And treating everybody equal, whether they're buying $1 million house or $100,000 house, right? Because it's the sales and the commissions and these big earnings that everybody wants to have financial freedom, but the way that we do that is by helping as many people as possible. And it was actually one of my favorite authors. His name is Zig Ziglar, and I'll leave you with this because it's just a really great quote that he says that's always stuck with me for years is you can have everything you want in life if you just help enough other people get what they want by giving to them.
Oh, I love that, man. Old Zig Ziglar in the mix, man. Always making his way in. That's a really good one. And you know what? You just hit the nail on the head. We do define the power of giving as it's the giving benefits the receiver as well as the giver, right? So it's always a giver's gain mentality. There's a good quote in the good book that says that it's more blessed to give than to receive. And so, man, that's such a great example. And just kudos to you for stepping out and giving back in philanthropy. And out of that, come home with a fiance, man. Kudos to you. So we've got the power of 1 degree, and it's going to highlight 5 major core values, core laws. And then, of course, we've got the power of giving you see there that we added as kind of a 6th pillar. But really, it hones in on these 5 laws. It's the law of value, the law of compensation, the law of influence, the law of authenticity, and the law of receptivity. So Chris just kicked us off with our power of giving pillar. And next, I want to go into and deep dive into this law of value. The law of value says that your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. So, Matt, tell us a little bit about the law of value and what that means to you.
So the law of value, our job is the purchasing a home is the biggest investment that you're going to make as a family, an individual, whatever that may be. Our job, protect and educate through the process. It doesn't matter what we make on the back end. The biggest is the value to show that our clients, our individuals, our friends are going to be able to do what they need to do, but not burden themselves financially. That's our job. We want to make sure that they're taken care of. And it doesn't matter if it's piggybacking off Chris, $100,000 house, $1 million house. Our job is to value what you have and what we can do to you. An example, even if things don't work out, I remember I had an elderly client where it wasn't going to happen for them. And honestly, all they needed was a friend to talk to. That's really what it came down to. I spent weeks with this client talking to him, and he talked about life. He talked about his past military life. And was I getting a payment for that? No. But at the end of the day, was it valuable to that individual? Did it make him happy? Absolutely. And that's what the law of value truly means. It doesn't mean a paycheck on our end. It doesn't mean anything that we're getting out except to make sure that we value that client, value that person, value that human. And that's really what the law of value means to me.
You hit the nail on the head, Matt. Thank you so much, man. It really is understanding the customer's needs. It's, providing exceptional quality, building those relationships over time. And, all of the things that you see here, increasing your worth over time, right? When you appreciate others, then you appreciate in return. Thank you for sharing that, Matt. The next we've got, the law of value also just touches on your gifting, which is beautiful because, there's some things that we are each gifted with, we're passionate about, and it's not so much to go out there and make a killing, right? It's to share your gift, knowing that when you add value and you share your gift with others, the money will follow, which segues into the law of compensation. It's very similar, but the law of compensation deals directly with the money. It's that your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them, meaning that the better you are at adding value, the more value you add, then the more experience you're going to get, the more at bats that you'll get, the more opportunities you'll have. And through those opportunities, inevitably, the more referrals will come, the more your name will get around, because people can't help but to share how great you did, how helpful you were, how much you changed their life, right? And in our world, we're dealing with people's biggest investment of their lifetime. And with that just comes this incredible opportunity to make a great impact. And you know what? To that point, the money will follow, right? It's not about going out there and trying to make as much money or trying to chase the money, because if you're trying to do that, you're going to lose the race, right? And we had one of our speakers say that in our law of compensation. And here it's all about scaling your impact. How can you make a bigger impact? How can you make more impact in your community? We just this week, we had one of our LOs here, Coach Corey, who went above and beyond and pulled our team together. We got a bike donated for a local charity in his community. Expanding your reach and getting to know people in your community and making sure that they know that you're there to serve them, that you have great skills, gifts, and talent, and that if needed, you would love nothing more than to serve them. Increasing the quality of your service. Well, how do you increase the quality of your service? You increase the knowledge and your expertise of that service. You're constantly looking to improve, and you are going to be rewarded for that value that you're putting in. And that is the law of compensation, where you're serving with excellence, and out of a continual focus on serving with excellence, it will generate a sustained referral growth impact. Next up, we have the law of influence. So the law of influence is an important one. We're in the social media influencer age, and I think we've gotten the definition of the influence wrong a little bit. Coach Corey, tell us a little bit about influence and what that means to you.
So, in my opinion, the law of influence is the cornerstone of being an effective leader. As a loan officer in our business right now, we influence through expertise and trustworthiness and giving good advice to clients in order to purchase a new home. The law of influence has had a huge impact on my life. Some of you know, as a former athlete, I was being able to be influenced by so many people, my parents, my teammates, the coaches that I've had, with one being Keith LeClaire. Keith LeClaire passed away of ALS shortly after I graduated from East Carolina, and he had a huge impact on my life. As a player, I was taught that you lead with integrity, empathy and authenticity. When you lead with integrity, people trust you. And when you lead with empathy, they connect to who you are and what you're doing. And when you're authentic, people believe in you. They trust you. I'll tell you a little story about how this law best suits me. As a coach, I was able to coach 12 years of Little League, 9 through 12-year-olds. And at that age, that's a great time that you really want to be a huge influence on kids and children, these days. There's nothing more humbling to me as a coach to see a kid, go on, sign a national letter of intent to play college baseball, especially when they invite you to that. And that's happened to me 7 times, and not only that, it's just to have the kids that I've coached or had an influence on to go on to college or, to do those things and just become a successful person. Those are huge, huge parts of the way the law of influence has had an impact on my life.
I love it. Thanks for sharing, Coach Corey. That is a great example of the law of influence and how impactful it can be in business and in life, right? Because everything we're touching on, just like Coach Corey just mentioned, is all applicable in life. It's life lessons to be honed in and used. And we see the law of influence really highlighted through these sub bullet points or these other pillars. You heard it there: building trust, serving others, and having that reciprocity. It's really about putting others first, and putting others' interests before your own. And through that, you will grow into and become a person of influence. So thank you for that, Coach Corey. That was great, man. Next up, we've got the law of authenticity. The law of authenticity states simply that the most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. So, Trey, tell us a little bit about the law of authenticity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the law of authenticity is just being unapologetically authentic, and being, authentic is such a critical part of anyone's success, especially in our business and in life in general. I think where I resonate so much with the law of authenticity is in a couple of areas, but specifically, I think I've always kind of prided myself, if you will, on being able to be adaptable and being able to kind of mesh with different types of people from different backgrounds, and not because I'm wanting to do that or I'm necessarily trying to, but again, I'm just being authentic. And when you're authentic, people can feel that, right? You wear your heart on your sleeve, and here here's who I am, and again, people can feel that. I think for me specifically, related to the mortgage industry, I serve a lot of veterans, and right now I'm serving a lot of veterans as a veteran as well. In the military, that was a huge part of leadership. Obviously, in the military, you've got everybody from across the country coming in at a relatively young age, serving, and just, again, being authentic and not only yourself, but embracing other people's authenticity as well. And kind of that's what gives it that unit cohesion. Same concept here, in work. Is where you can be your authentic self. People can feel that, and they tend to love it. Specifically, my fellow veterans as well. So that's just a big one for me. I've really seen it resonate and help my business, grow and just help me in my personal life as well. And I would just encourage everybody. Look, you can't please everybody, but you can definitely please most people, and most importantly yourself, if you're just not going through life trying to please other people, and you're just authentic.
So good. Thank you for sharing that, Trey. And along the way, you're going to see that each one of those 5 laws are just weaved in and through each other, all of these. And so being genuine is incredibly important. It allows you to build trust, create value, and ultimately, it's true that the most valuable gift that we have to offer is ourselves and your truest self, right? So what a gift it is. There's only one of you. May as well give it away. What's the one thing that you can give away the most and never run out of? That's going to be yourself and all of your gifts and talents. So the genuine you, it leads to the sustainable success. That is the law of authenticity. And, you know, everything that we've talked about is dealing with giving, giving, giving. Of course, we are talking about being a go-giver. And the reality is that there is another pillar, there's another law that stands out when you are giving as a practice. It's important to note that you don't give in order to receive. That's not the game plan. It's not a strategy. You know, you just give because you know that there's an abundance, right? You've heard it said before. You probably had business coaches or you know, mentors that have said, hey, an abundance mindset is important, right? And when you have an abundance mindset, you don't have a scarcity mindset that says, I can't give too much, otherwise I won't have enough left over, right? That's a scarcity mindset. So you just continue to give, and that brings you to the law of receptivity, which states clearly that the key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving, not as a strategy, but it's just the laws of nature. When you give and you give and you give, and you're not seeking or requesting anything in return, you're simply just giving the best of you, then there's something that happens. It comes back to you, and you have to be open to receiving as well, because there's going to be people who, just like you, are wired in the exact same way. They've got this thing figured out. The most successful people that I know, I can give, and guess what? They give as well. And I have to be open to receiving. And I've seen in my own personal circles, kind of the who's and the people that move up have always been great givers. And so as much as I give, I've got to be open to receiving. And so there's a balance of giving and receiving. There's a flow of value, receiving with gratitude and overcoming any blockages. You're enabling greater giving when you have a sense of gratitude about the idea of receiving. That's the law of receptivity. When you have a virtuous cycle of giving, it's going to amplify your impact, and together you'll be able to accomplish more. So when you get a room of go-givers together, man, just think about what's possible. That's why we wanted to do this series. That's why we wanted to share this with everyone. We do this as a team internally, and we thought, man, this is a great opportunity to not only share it with all of our realtor friends and other loan officers across the country, but also, you know, all of our clients and all of our family and friends and people that are in our circle, that if we are all go-givers, could you imagine the impact that collectively we would make together? Here, you're looking at a team that's generated off of a go-giver mentality. We're all here to serve you. We appreciate you, and we thank you for allowing us the opportunity to share these go-giver principles with you and to be a part of this. We can't thank you enough. You know, from the bottom of our hearts and our team here today, we just want to say again, thank you. And be sure to tune in for the 5-week series on the power of 1 degree, where that 1 degree shift, that's what's going to start pointing you in a direction of great success and significance. So from all of us here at Movement Bank, thank you once again, and we look forward to serving you soon.
Thank you.